My name is Patrick. I run the marketing department here at Art Storefronts, and this is what we call an art business workshop. And let's assume for a minute that on this Zoom call, and the people that are watching the various different live streams are a diverse group of artists and photographers from all walks of life, niches, geographical areas of this country, and others, varying levels of experience. And let's all assume as well that you're all here today because you want to figure out some ways to better monetize your creative talents, your creative abilities. And in some cases, we get people on here that have never sold anything before. They're just trying to sell their first piece of art. And in other cases, we get some people that are trying to, get to the point where it's a legitimate side hustle, right? Just bear with me. One of my lights went out. I gotta see if I can plug this in. Hold on. There we go. And then some want to go side hustle to something representing a full-time job. Some people have businesses that are rolling along, going really well, and you want to, double that. You want to keep growing. Some of you guys are like, you know what? I really want to get this art business started, and so I have something cool to work on in retirement. And what's interesting about that is, all of these varying different degrees of experience and all these varying different degrees, desires of where you want to move your art career is diverse is a bunch that is. It actually turns out you guys all have one thing in common, and it's that you're all suck at marketing. You're all not working consistently on your marketing. You all have a marketing problem. And I don't need to interview you or talk to you or go into depth and get into your background. I know this because I've been running these sessions for a year and a half, and I've been doing this for a long time. And the one single uniting feature that you guys all have that you have a marketing problem. And the biggest problem pursuant to that you guys all have, okay, is that it's sort of like your art career, your photography career is a boat, right? And the boat is out there at sea, and it has some holes in it, and it's got small holes and it's got big holes. And what happens, almost to a photographer, to an artist, is you're running around plugging all the tiny holes, right? And you're completely ignoring the giant gaping hole that's pouring in water. And the giant gaping hole is fixing the marketing problem, okay? And I see this time and time again, week in, week out. It's going to be kind of one of the themes that I'm getting into on this talk. And, I've been doing this for a long time. We have a little bit over 5,500 customers on Art Storefronts as a platform. We study their data. Who's selling the most originals? Who's selling the most commissions? Who's selling the most prints? What about metal prints? Who has the highest AOV, average order value? In addition to that, we are a proactive marketing team at Art Storefronts. A lot of times we work with our customers on case studies, and I've single-handedly, working with my customers directly, sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of art this year. So you combine the fact that we have all this data on our customers. We're actively working on how to sell art and photography and getting marketing campaigns in the water and running live art shows and doing all these things. And then, to add even more to it, one of the things that we do is, we look at the folks that are putting in demos. Demos like our test drive process, like how you learn about who we are, what we do, and you go through what, and I'll get into it later. But anyway, you put in a demo, you fill out the form on our site. We as a team study the websites. We as a team study the social media accounts and what's being done there. And, 99 out of 100 are not marketing consistently. 99 out of 100 are barely ever updating their website if they have one in the first place. So I know that marketing is the biggest problem on 100 different levels, right? And so that is just a fact. It's just a truth. It needs to be mentioned. It needs to be said. And I need to cover it. And I think the presentation that I'm about to go through today, so this is sort of the agenda on the call. One, I'm going to go through a presentation if you want to be successful in this business. And there's absolutely very, very little of this presentation that's a sales pitch. It doesn't matter if you ever do business with Art Storefronts. If you don't get a few things right, there's like a maxim in investing, maximum saying, whatever. And the saying goes, you don't have to do a whole lot right as long as you don't do a whole lot wrong. And what is meant by that? What's meant by that is if you save for retirement and you put an equal amount of money in every year or whatever, and you invest conservatively and you have the right perspective, i.e. you're going to be investing for 30 or 40 years. You're not picking risky stocks or going in on, margin calls or whatever, the financial fancy stuff. You're going to be okay. When you retire, you're going to be okay. You don't have to get a whole lot right as long as you don't get a whole lot wrong. Well, it turns out there's a maximum for your business. And it's the same. You don't have to do a whole lot right as long as you don't do a whole lot wrong. And so I've created this thing that I call the art marketing pyramid. And I use it as a way to explain the things that you simply must get right. It's a pyramid because it's based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it is, the notion of it is it's a pyramid. It's got bottom blocks, and you have to sort the bottom blocks before you move up to the next block, right? And what are the bottom blocks in our case? They're physiological in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you got to do that daily. Then you can work on a roof over your head and a lock on your door and getting fit, money, and climbing the mountain. So I give you the art selling pyramid, the path to a successful business in 2021 and beyond. You don't have to get a whole lot right as long as you don't get a whole lot wrong. The base of this pyramid, the bottom block, is attention, right? And I've already alluded to this. It's the biggest problem that you all have. You all have a marketing problem. If you do not fix the marketing problem, the business is not going to grow. You guys are all solopreneurs, okay? You don't have a marketing staff. Most artists and photographers never will. They're almost always going to be solopreneurs, which is totally okay. It doesn't mean you can't build a great business, but you have to fix the marketing problem. And attention is the currency of the land that we live in, okay? And I would love to sit here and tell you that in 2021, you having a successful business is a meritocracy. It's a meritocracy on how talented you are with the brush, or how talented you are with the lens, or whatever your content creation is, your creations are. It's not. It's not. The best art, the best photography do not win. The best art, the best photography that gets seen wins. That gets seen wins. It is a meritocracy to start out with on how good you are at your marketing and how consistently you're doing your marketing. Attention is 100% the currency of the land. And to take it out of the art industry and to be provocative, I like to always ask this question. If I was to ask you, who are some of the most powerful women in the world, how would you respond to that? How would you respond? You know how I respond? It's Kardashian Jenner sisters. Now, we can all argue about how these women went about, obtaining attention, but what we can't argue is how smart they have taken that attention and leveraged it, okay? They've all leveraged it into 10, 50, $100 million a year businesses, right? They're not flying commercial anymore. And the point of it is, if any of those surgically altered, well-endowed women decided to become an artist or a photographer tomorrow, they would have a $10 million a year business in art, in photography, year one. And we can all argue about whether or not that's fair. It certainly doesn't feel like it's fair, but it underscores that attention is the currency of the land. Your marketing and how hard and diligent you're working on it is going to be directly reflective of what size your business grows to. Once we're working on attention, and again, it's a quotidian need, no different than physiological blocks. You have to eat, you have to sleep every day. So too do you need to be working on your attention if you want to be building your business. The next block up has an outer portion and an inner portion. The outer portion is the business model. You have to sell direct. If you want to make it in this business, if you want your business to grow year over year, you have to sell direct. You have to sell direct such that you retain the information on who is purchasing, such that you can market to that person in perpetuity for the rest of your art creation selling lives. This is so critically important. And it gets to the next point. You also have to retain that customer information so you can build a collector list, okay? And a collector list, I would go as far to say, is either the number one or number two most important metric that is directly reflective of what type of revenue an art or photography business is going to earn. It's a concept I originally borrowed from this fine man. His book's called Don't Be a Starving Artist. It is by Weiland, the whale guy, number one best-selling artist in the United States, apparently not even close. No one tracks that, so, how can I say that? But I say it anyway. It's a sexy buzzword. Fantastic book, this, okay? Amazing book, this. Incredible. I think you should buy it. I'm going to throw you links in the chat. But Weiland defines a collector list, in his case, as people that will purchase 8+ pieces of art over the course of their lifetimes from him. And sometimes it's as many as 50 pieces, but it's 8 or more. And Weiland goes into detail in the book about sort of some of the tactical things that he does. But, these people are on his personal Christmas card list. These people get personal emails, not sent from his email service provider. These people will notice that every once in a while, Weiland will like one of their Instagram posts. Okay, he treats these people like they're staying at the Four Seasons. And what happens as a result of that is they come back and they buy again and again and again and again. And when I first read this book early in my career, you know, I didn't have the reps and sets. I didn't have the experience with my customers and seeing their data year after year after year. Now that I have, is why I say it's one of the most important metrics in an art or photography business, full stop. Because what happens is you'll come out with a new series of photography, a new series of art, a new series of wood carvings, whatever you're doing. And let's just say that you have 10 pieces in the collection and you're going to release those 10 pieces to the public on a Wednesday. Well, on a Sunday, you're going to email your collector list and you're going to say, hello, collectors, patrons. I so much appreciate you guys and your support. I just wanted to let you know that I'm coming out with a brand new series that I'm releasing to the public on Wednesday. Is a way of saying thanks for you guys being esteemed collectors of mine. I of course want you to be able to see it before anyone else does. Hope you're well, Patrick. And what ends up happening is those collectors buy some portion of your work, okay, before the public even gets to see it. And it starts small at first. Maybe it's 1 out of the 10 and 10% of what you sold, 10% of what you created is gone before the public even sees it. But I've seen it as high as 50 and 60% of my customers on some of them, on some efforts. And that's staggering, right? Like you created 10 pieces of art because you have a collector list and you're taking care of it. You sold six out of the 10 pieces before the public even got to see it. And how this sort of bears itself out, like a way to think about it is, you guys are all just commission salespeople. That's what you are at the end of the day. Yes, you're an artist. Yes, you have to create. Yes, you have to be in the studio. You have to be out there taking photos, but you're a commission salesperson after that, meaning not only do you have to create the thing, you have to go and sell the thing. And if you do a good job and you sell the thing, you get paid. But if you don't do any of the selling, that work isn't going to sell itself. You're on commission, right? You're commission based. When you have a collector list, when you take care of the collector list, what ends up happening is you go from a commission salesperson to a commission salesperson with a base salary. You get paid just to create. You essentially just get paid to wake up and create every single solitary day. And if that's growing year over year over year, your collector list is growing bigger and bigger in size. You're deepening those relationships year over year over year. You can be selling to these people for the rest of your art creating life. You guys, for most of you, this is multiple decades. For some of you, it's 4 or 5 decades. For many of you, it's 2 or 3 decades, and a lot of you, 1 decade, right? So fundamental, so insanely powerful. And so many artists and photographers have gotten this wrong. And you don't have to get a whole lot right as long as you don't get this one wrong. You have to be building a collector list. The only way you can do that is if the business model that you're practicing is one in which you sell direct and you maintain that information. So we're working on Attention Daily. We understand the business model. We understand the collector list. Next up on the pyramid, there are 3 ways to sell art. I believe every artist, every photographer, whatever you are creating, you have to understand these 3 ways. You have to be aware of them, and you have to be prepared to deploy them when the situation calls for it, okay? Now, the first way, best way, trick question, you all already know it, in person, face-to-face, always has been, always will be, not ever gonna change. Problem though, we're all geographically fixed on this planet. We all have to sleep, and we can't have 25 conversations at once. So yes, you have to have your art, your photography, your creations up on a website. People need to be able to come to the website, learn about them, purchase them. It's really important to solve for all those solutions. The newest way, though, the single solitary greatest advancement that this industry has seen in forever is exactly what we're doing right now. It is leveraging live video in either a one-to-one fashion or a one-to-many fashion. Let's talk about a one-to-one fashion, okay? Let's say I'm following Elsie Andrews here, and I see one of her pieces on Instagram, and I'm like, wow, this thing looks really interesting. And I lean over to my wife, and I show this to my wife. Check out this piece from Elsie. Then I said, this thing's amazing. She's like, yeah, that thing's really cool. We're remodeling a bathroom, and we're going to have some wall space. So I go into Instagram, and I send Elsie a message, and I say, Elsie, I don't even think it's Elsie. I think it's Elise. I think I'm hacking the name. If I'm hacking your name, Elise, just mea culpa. Forgive me. It is Elise, I think. Anyway, Elise, my wife and I were on Instagram, saw that piece. We're really interested in it. We're remodeling a bathroom. We're wondering if you could talk to you. And she sends me back a message, and she says, yeah, no problem, Patrick. Let's jump into a Zoom call, and we can talk about the pieces. And so then my wife and I, the 2 decision makers that need to be present to purchase this art, who am I kidding? She's the only decision maker. But anyway, we get on the Zoom call. She's showing, okay, at least she told me. So she's showing me the pieces, right? and she's kind of merchandising the work, right? I don't have a piece of it in front of me, but she's showing it off, talking about it. We're getting to know one another. She's telling me and my wife about what her inspiration is for this piece, right? And all of a sudden, her dog comes running in and interrupts the call, and I'm like, "No way, you got a dog, I've got a dog." And then we start bonding over dogs. Now we have a relationship, and the work sells. Okay, that is the one-to-one fashion. Incredibly powerful. How many of you right now are trying to get prospective buyers into a Zoom call? Don't worry, I'll wait. How many? Don't worry, I know it's not a lot of you. Almost none, right? It is fundamentally going to forever change how art and photography is sold. That's the one-to-one. What about the one-to-many?
Besides you.
So what you're seeing here, I got to mute this, is longtime friend, customer. His name is Matthew Laka. He is a painter in Laval, in Quebec, in Canada. And during COVID, we ran some live art shows with this gentleman. And these are old pieces that he did a number of years ago. He was in his garage studio. He was broadcasting live to a few of the different social networks. And in 2 sales, in the middle of COVID, and I got to get to his videos tab, just bear with me. In 2 sales over COVID, he sold 62 pieces for a little bit over $30,000 Canadian. Okay. Now that is an insane result. We saw that and we're like, whoa. Part of my job, part of my marketing team and I's job is to study what is working on actually moving art and photography and attempt to systematize it and teach all the rest of our customers. And so we got this result with Matthew and we're like, whoa, that's not normal. Mm-hmm. So since then, what we've gone on to do is, I don't know why these things are not muted today, is run show after show after show after show. This particular gal, her name's Meg. She's a painter in Kansas City. And what she was doing is she was moving from one, like she had like a physical studio space that she was renting somewhere there downtown Kansas City. And she had a bunch of extra pieces and color studies and the like and the rest. And so she ran a live art show, right? And do you remember what I said about the collector list? In Meg's show, she had 82 pieces in the show, okay? And she was going to run the show on a Wednesday. She reached out to her collector list on Sunday, and she sold 46% of the show to her collector list before the thing even started. All told, I think she sold 62 pieces for a little over $12,000 because you can see like a lot of them are sketches and the smaller things. Since then, we've run hundreds of these with every type of artist, every type of geographical place on Earth, some photographers, mixed media artists. And, as you go through this, what you'll notice is that these people look just like you, don't they? Turns out none of these people live in television studios or mansions or have fancy things all over the place, right? Like they lived in normal houses like the rest of us, it turns out. And they're all capable of running live art shows from these spaces, broadcasting out to the world, letting people bond with them and ask them questions in real time. And fundamentally in my career, I have never seen anything as effective and moving art and photography as this period. It is sort of like getting into email marketing in the AOL days. It's sort of like getting into SEO, search engine optimization, when Google first wrote its search engine. It's sort of like being one of the first ones to Facebook ads. There is an incredible arbitrage in running these techniques right now. Unless you think that it's just lowly art storefronts figuring this out, working at this and hacking at this, yours is an industry that doesn't have a lot of reports, okay? There's 2 big ones that come out a year. The one that we're talking about now comes out from Art Basel and UBS Global. They call it the Global Art Market Report. Do I have the wrong link on this one? I think I have the wrong link on this one. Maybe this one's the right one. Ah, good. This is the right one. And I'm going to send this to you. Don't worry. It'll be in the chat, but I'm going to send you, I forgot to mention, after this whole thing's over, I'm going to take the video from this session. I'm going to embed it in a web page, and all the links that I mentioned are going to be there. So don't feel like you need to, write them down or click on them or whatever. Anyway. These reports are awesome because you don't have any other reports in the industry that really give like solid data. Why they're not awesome for you guys is because they only survey the people that are making over $100,000 a year in art, and usually 100,000 to many millions, right? So you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. But they have like a a fancy little web page that they developed in a PDF. I'm going to send you the link. I think you should check it out. But I like to quote from this particular part. Chapter 5 looks at the online art market and the rapid evolution in sales in 2021. The chapter looks how the dealer sector shifted sales online in 2020 at the development of online viewing rooms, OVRs, okay? And they go on to talk about how much art was sold in 2020 over the course of the pandemic via putting high net worth individuals into OVRs. online viewing rooms. Stated another way, a new snotty branded term for a Zoom call. It's just a video call. On one end, you've got the artist agent, the gallery owner, right? The Sotheby's agent. On the other, you have the high net worth individual and the buying decision people, and they talk about the art, they do the little show, and art gets purchased. And my point in showing you that is it doesn't matter if you're just getting started, you've never sold a piece in your life, or if you're at the very, very tippy top of you know the cycle, right? Like you're the biggest, baddest artist that's out there. You're selling well over $1 million a year. Everyone, okay, that has this figured out is going all in on figuring out the most effective ways to run these live art shows, the most effective ways of doing one-on-one art selling. So it's absolutely the future. The fact that this is at least on your radar now puts you in the top 1% of artists and photographers in terms of overall marketing acumen. And I'm not kidding when I say that. This is so the future. It is not even close. You are going to see it absolutely everywhere. Now that you're switched onto it and you understand it, you're going to be reading about makeup companies that are doing it and clothing companies that are doing it. Why would you go to the mall when you can have a private fitting right over Zoom with a sales associate? It's just going to happen everywhere. You're not going to be able to go now that you've seen this, now that you know about this, reading a New York Times article or reading a Wall Street Journal or wherever you read where they're not talking about video-enabled commerce. There's a bunch of different buzzwords for it, but it's the future. And, you know, there's so many different abstractions to it, right? Like my same buddy Matthew, he had a show. When was this? July 24th last year, middle of COVID, right? Show is in Canada. They let him go on with the show. Obviously, it was mass. It was social distancing. No one could get to the show, so he did the best that he could in actually having his gallery show. What did he do the next time? Turn the laptop on, turn the phone on, and walked through the show via a live art show, via live streaming to the socials. And it was like you were in the show. You could see which pieces had red dots. You could ask questions. You could ask what his inspiration was. He had a glass of wine. He was explaining it to you, right? And he sold more of the show as a result of this, as a result of running this live art show than he would have otherwise. And so the abstractions, the permutations, the various different ways to skin this cat, for a lack of a better term, no one has it all figured out right now. It's the ground floor. The elevator doors haven't closed and no one knows how high it's going to go, but it is the future, full stop. And you can tell I'm extremely, extremely passionate about it. We have run, no joke, hundreds of these things for our customers at this point, and we're not stopping. We're just doing more and more and more and more and more. You know, like one of our latest and greatest features. Where is it? So I designed this page from scratch myself, and now it is a template in our website. One of the things that happens when you try to run these live art shows is, how are you going to take payment? If you're streaming to Instagram and Facebook and YouTube all at the same time, where are you going to send people to buy the stuff? And if somebody does buy the stuff, how is someone else going to know that it's sold, right? And you run into all these situations. And how do you have a page that's enabled for the commerce after the show is over with the video for the people that missed it, right? And so this is another Art Storefronts customer, buddy, Rob Shanahan, super talented rock photographer. Of course, he looks the part, doesn't he? And here was his live show. It's the first one that he ran. And here is our newest page. And you notice this? There's nowhere to click on this anywhere. Nothing. Can't click on anything because I only want you buying. That's it. You can share it and you can put things in your shopping cart. And these pages take less than an hour to create. You drop all of the images via one folder on one upload. Boom, the grid is there. Boom. You title things. You price them. You size them. A description if you want. And you get buy now buttons. The minute somebody buys it, boom, it goes to sold. You're not having any problems when you're running the show. If you want number 5, go to the link here. Go buy it. Boom. You can buy it instantaneously and it goes to sold. And not only that, check out the shopping cart that I've designed on this. You're not going through any 25-page, checkout process. Credit card, first name, pay now. You can use Google Pay, Apple Pay, and instantaneously you're checked out. So, we as a business at Art Storefronts realize that this is the future. And I mean, this is like already version 2 of this page. I'm going to end up having version 50 of this page because I just keep learning more and more and more as myself. Members of my team are running more and more and more of these shows. So I love these things. I'm mega passionate about them. So those are the 3 ways to sell art. Top of the pyramid, the tippity top, is everything else. You have a gallery relationship, brick and mortar or online, Etsy, Saatchi, Redbubble, Fine Art America, whatever, then guess what? Great. I have never met a revenue source I don't like, but you better be working at that one at the very top of working on all the rest. Otherwise, you are not building a business that you have control of. you are not building a business that's going to grow year over year. And you're not building a business that, if COVID round 2 or Delta variant comes back, can't be snatched right out of your hands like it was the last time, right? Like the ones that had this pyramid figured out, COVID was a windfall. It was a windfall because what ended up happening? All of the available places to buy art galleries, show and thayer circuit, closed. They were closed. And yet the demand for art and photography, along with everything else home decor related, because we were all locked down in our houses and not going back to our offices, was an all-time high. So you had an all-time high demand, and then you had e-commerce penetration that grew 10 years worth of growth in 6 weeks. And then you had all of the various sources to purchase art closed, right? So who do you think captured that demand? The artists, the photographers that understood the pyramid, that had been working on it, that had a collector list, that were working regularly on their marketing. And if you don't think another COVID is going to come down the line for the rest of your careers, or Lord knows what else, it just further underscores how important this pyramid is, you guys. I end on perspective, okay? Perspective. On these calls, and I've been running, did I say this earlier? I don't know if I did or not. I've essentially been running 3 of these a week since before the pandemic started. So, a year and a half now. You do that, you end up talking to hundreds of artists and photographers, including the many sessions I've taught with my customers. And, pattern recognition is real, okay? I talked to more artists and photographers than probably any human being alive over the last year and a half. And you know what I notice? People routinely on these calls are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Occasionally I get people in their 90s asking for advice on how to market and sell their art. Understand the perspective of how long you have to get this pyramid right, okay? Even if you haven't up till now, understand how much time you have to get this thing correct and get this thing going and get this thing humming. You do that, okay? You control your destiny. You actually have a business that is growing year over year. And you take that and you stretch that out over a 5 to 7 to 10 to 15-year period, and you are on the path to having a successful business. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I get really fired up about that pyramid because for a whole bunch of different reasons. But at that point, that's my presentation. What we can do now is we can move into the Q&A. You can ask about just about anything, anything that we do Art Storefronts as a business, anything that you are struggling with in yours. I don't think we have any brave people today that have their cameras on. So how can you ask questions? Couple of different ways. One, if you turn your camera on and you raise your hand, we'll see that. We can take a question that way. Two, if you notice there's this, let me get my fat head out of the way. There's this little reactions button at the bottom of your Zoom bar. You can click on that and there's a raise hand button, and that lets me know, hey, you have a question, and it can bring you on that way. If you don't want to turn your camera on, you don't have to turn your camera on. Okay, it's all good. I hate being on video, so I totally understand that. And you can certainly throw questions in the chat. We can answer those as well. And then if you're one of the ones that's watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, I see your comments. Alex, live page, brilliance. Thank you. Yeah, I'm fired up about it too. Alex, I think it's awesome. It's going to get better and better too. So you guys can leave questions there. We will field those and get those going as well. But yeah, at that point, it's all about Q&A. And understand too, Q4 is coming. Q4 is coming. The fourth quarter, in which starts October 1st. We have less than a month, and then the party starts. More art is sold in Q4 traditionally than the other 3 quarters combined. In many cases, not in all cases, in some cases. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, holiday buying season. What separates the winners and the losers from that particular holiday buying season is showing up, doing a little bit of marketing, and having a sale, right? And, I think I titled this thing online, like, do something different this year. Please let the something different that you do this year in contrast to last year is do a little bit of marketing and get a sale in the water for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And thank you, Bob, Ann, and Stephen for being brave, turning those cameras on. Right? I appreciate you guys. Just because you're the only faces that I see so far, I can pick on you guys. Do any of you guys have a question? All right, Ann, I like it. I like it. And I just unmuted you, and you'll have to hit your mic icon. Yep, gotcha.
So what exactly would you do for us as artists?
Are you talking
In
about
your business?
Art Storefronts as a business? What do
Yeah.
we do? Yeah.
Mhm.
So we get sort of pigeonholed as like a website company, right? And that's what we started as a website company. And you do certainly get a website with us, but what we've come to find out is that a website is not enough, right? And the way that I answer this is if I was the genie in the lamp and I just popped out into your living room and I said, Ann, I'm going to grab your art business and I will move it to any website company anywhere you want to build the whole thing and I'll hand it to you today. Do you know what would change in your business? Nothing. Nothing. Because you don't have a website problem, Ann. You have a marketing problem, right? So really what we are is, yes, a website platform and all the back end bells and whistles and everything else, but we're a graduate university that teaches art and business management and marketing. And the education starts the minute you get through the front door and it never stops. It's all we do all year long. Is teach our customers how to market, how to grow their business. And as I said, it never stops. We do this presentation to kind of explain all that high level stuff that I went through in it, because we think that's fundamental to get you nodding your head and saying like, yeah, you're right. I do have a marketing problem. Yeah, you're right. Like, I haven't been keeping a collector list. Yeah, you're right on all of those various different things. The next step, if you're interested, we do a demo process, which is like the test drive. And, you get to play with all the buttons and open the sunroof and turn on the air conditioning and rock out to the music. It's essentially like an hour Zoom call where they show you everything that it goes through. So that's like sort of the process. But in the long and the short of it, we get your art up on a website that is extremely effective at selling art, and then we teach you to drive traffic to it, and we'll never stop doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Patrick Zorro is asking, what is the website address where I can see different artists? Yeah, we can send you a couple of different examples. April can put a couple in the chat. And you can check out a few. And Misty's asking, so you teach marketing, but you don't do marketing? No. But let me just see by a show of hands, how many of you would sign up the service where you don't have to do anything but just create and everyone else goes and does all the marketing for you, right? That's like winning the lotto. Doesn't happen. There's a reason that doesn't exist out there. All right, Elise, you raised your hand and then you put it down. I feel like I'm going to have to unmute you anyway just to apologize for the early hacking of your name. And you can unmute if you like, Elise.
The question that I have is I'm an individual that years ago, I was an art major and started working and showed some things in high school and the first year of college. And then, of course, things changed. And so I'm just now getting back into art. And so I have very little to show. So is there a certain amount of pieces that you would suggest before I get into something like this?
One.
Just one.
The reason I say one is more what's a word I'm looking for? It's more theoretical than otherwise. And the reason I say it is I'll just get started when I have 10 or 15 pieces. And then it moves to I'll just get started when I have those 10 to 15 pieces photographed. And then it moves to I'll just get started when I have my branding and my logo and my colors and my business card all done. And then it moves to I'll just get started when I have my business account set up. And in the meantime, no formative steps get taken in growing that business. If you're serious about the business and you want to grow the business, one piece is enough, right? One piece is enough. Yes, of course, maybe it'd be better to have 5 to 7, but one piece is absolutely enough. And then you know what happens? Every time you create a new piece and it goes in the store, you have a marketing moment ready on a platter for you. Hey guys, it's Elise. I just want to let you know I have a brand new piece. Come check it out, right? So the point is that the problem is the marketing problem. The problem is not the number of pieces you have. And so until you start working on the problem, you're never gonna get going.
And I'm working on the problem, but now this is the part 2 of that. All right, so you have several great pieces that you have been asked to do for certain people, but they have given you the right to take those pieces and have them photographed so that you can sell those as well.
Smart collectors. All it does is increase the value of the original.
So that would be something, I don't know how you handle that when you're selling. Are you just, are we labeling those as numbered items?
You can do it any which way you like, right? Like, you certainly can't have the original in your store because you've already sold that one. But you can have the prints in your store all day long, and you can decide whether or not you want to do them limited edition, or you want to do them open edition, or maybe you do bigger sizes limited edition, and maybe you do the smaller sizes open edition. There's no concrete rules after that, but I love the fact that you have them and you have them ready to sell, right?
Mm,
And then
okay.
also too, like one of the things that we like to do is, we have the ability in our stores to like put original, limited edition, open edition all on the same page. And then if the original sold, you can cross it out, right? And that just kind of creates a little FOMO,
Oh,
FOMO's
okay.
fear of missing out. And one of the things too that's so funny is that everything that we attempt to do digitally, all we're trying to do is replicate the experience that happens in the real world, right? In physical world, right? And when you walk into an art gallery on opening night and there's a bunch of little red dots on the pieces that have already sold, don't think
Hmm.
for a minute that for the people seeing that, they're not going, whoa, this artist is selling. This artist is on the up and up, right? And so when you go and launch, despite the fact you're just getting started, and you have a bunch of originals that are already all sold, I'm gonna be like, whoa, what's going on with Elise here? Who the heck bought all these originals already, right? So it's got a little psychological trigger to it too.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And sorry for butchering your name early.
That's not a problem. I'm used to it.
Yeah, I just read it so quickly, and then I saw it again, and I was
Not
like,
a
"Dadgummit,
problem.
I've done it now." All right, thanks. Okay, Steven, you're up next. Go ahead, Steven. Or have I done it again? Is it Stefan?
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, this is probably a silly question, or
No such thing, my
I'm
friend.
a newbie. Yeah. So when I take pictures of the stuff and post them onto, that I'm working on, posting onto Instagram,
Mhm.
usually, they don't look that great. I'm not a great photographer. I'm a sculptor,
Mhm.
metal artist. So,
Mhm.
is there a way to get someone to take pictures for you?
Yeah,
Or
100%, 100%. Get all the stuff ready. Put an ad on Craigslist. Say looking for a
yeah,
photographer that shot sculpture before. After you post the thing
yeah,
on Craigslist, this is Tradecraft. Okay, I love Craigslist. Do not
yeah,
respond. Do not respond until you've gotten at least 25 photographers that have responded. And let me tell you, there is an abundance of photographers that are going to come over there. And do you know what you're looking for? You're looking for a person who says, by the way, I shot art a bunch of times. And ideally, if you have a garage, they can set up in the garage and just crack all of
yeah.
them, pay for them. And then, you've got social media content for weeks and weeks and months because they're going to give you a whole bunch of different angles, right?
I got it.
That's what I would
Yeah.
do.
Okay. Told you it was silly.
No, it's not silly at all. It's a great question. Totally legit question. But that's what I would
Thanks.
do. And then also understand too that like you might not be the greatest photographer in the world, but these things have video cameras on them too. They have really good video cameras on them.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay. So Aileen's asking, do you help design the website for us? Yeah, so I can answer that question. I'll unmute you, Aileen, in case you have any follow-ups. So what all artists and photographers have done up till now, okay, is, and I've seen all your websites, seen my earlier aforementioned point about I've looked at all of them, and I continue to look at all of them. You guys, because you're creatives and because you have creative standards, you all attempt to design your websites and make them look like pretty portfolio sites where you're super stressed out about the fonts and the color and how it all meshes together. And do you remember my point earlier about how everything that we attempt to do is mimic how art and photography is sold in the real world? Well, what's the best way to sell art and photography in the real world? Yes, it's in person, but it's in an art gallery. So someone tell for me the last art gallery that you walked into that had a bunch of beautiful fonts and goofy colors and nonsense and slideshows going on the wall, okay? That doesn't exist for a reason. Art galleries are minimalist by design. They have white walls. Why do they do that? Because they're attempting to sell a product, and they realized a long time ago that was the best way to do it. So our websites are extremely templated out. You don't have any design work to do. You're not even allowed to do any design work. It's not true. If you want to, you can, but I don't want you to. All you're doing is uploading your images, okay? You are pricing them. You're picking the media types. You're throwing the About Me section on, a logo if you have it, and then you're going to start working on your marketing. You're not messing around with your website in the slightest. You don't have a website problem. So no, we do not build them for you. That being said, we do have a site setup service. I think we actually have a huge discount going on it right now because we realize artist fears in order: death, taxes, and building a new website. That's it. Those are the three. I already know, right? So I hope, does that sort of answer it, Aileen?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So, but it doesn't, like, we get most people live in 14 days or less. And if you're extremely low on the technical acumen scale, is it going to take you a little bit longer? Usually, yes. But again, if you're like, I just don't want to do this, I'm over this, then you can just go ahead and pay us and we'll do it for you. So all of those things are on offer, which is really, really important. But it's so funny to see, like, I want my site to look like this or like that, or I'm concerned about the colors, or I'm concerned about this, or, I need it to look like this. And then, okay, how's that selling art for you now? Don't worry, I'll wait. How's it working now, right? It's not working. It's never worked. A pretty portfolio site does not move art. We've been doing this for a long time. We understand what it takes, what it should look like. And it's very minimalist and very simplistic, and it just works, right? And it, again, like all of our sites look like art galleries for a reason. They're minimalist. There's not a lot going on, right? And there's not a lot going on by design, right? Like, we don't want you distracted by any nonsense. We want you just 100% focused on purchasing the art, right? Like, do I have it? Oh, yeah. Simple, minimalist, not a lot going on, just photography. Look at how cool this is, though. We just released this feature. So this is like specifically for interior designers, where our system scans all of your work. It pulls all of the colors out, and then it gives people the ability to browse via color, right? And so on his case, because this guy shoots like ocean stuff, everything looks the same. Everything looks the same for him because it's just ocean colors. But, the whole experience, it's all about the art. Like, the only thing that you notice is the art, right? Like, that's the only thing that you're going to see. That's the only thing that I want you to see. But this is why we do the demo process, because they can walk you through all the bells and whistles and, everything that we have, and media browsers and all the rest. But, yep, that's what I would say. Don't have a website problem, guys. No one has a website problem. Maybe like 10 out of 100 artists have a website problem, because they actually have done marketing and they're driving traffic and everything else. But okay, what else? Questions? Bob, Chris, Kaya? I always pick on the ones that are just have the cameras on, so that's all I can do. But I appreciate you guys for having the cameras on. You're brave. I like it. All right, Anne's asking me, once we set up a website, is it ours or does it have to go through Art Storefront? Great question. I love that. So sort of underpinning everything that I said in the pyramid is you have to own everything, right? You have to own everything. And what do I mean by that? And I'm going to unmute you, Anne, in case you have any follow-up questions. But you own the URL. You own the merchant account. The merchant account is connected directly to your bank account. We are not involved in any aspect of that. So the point is that if you're going to work at this business for years and years and years, people are going to link to your website, okay? The email list, 100% yours. You retain 100% of the information on the collectors, right? Because like I said in the pyramid, you have to be selling direct. You have to keep this information on who you're going to be marketing to in the future. So with us, the artist owns absolutely everything. And for whatever reason, if things didn't go well 5, 6, 7, 10, 2 years, 6 months down the line, although I should say that we have one of the highest retention rates ever seen in subscription software business. Retention just means no one cancels. People just hang around for forever and ever. Our product is that good. But you take everything with you, right? And all you do is, like, Anne, let's say your website is annegoldsmith.com. You redirect it at our version of your new website. And then, if you want to move one day, you redirect Anne Goldsmith to wherever you're going next, and you take everything with you. All your business records, all your contacts, all your everything. So that's how we work.
Are contacts shared?
No, yours.
Okay, great.
Yours, all individually to the artist. We're not like a gallery or a collective or a co-op or anything in that capacity.
Thanks.
So
Great.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Okay, Bob's asking, so something like real estate, put buyers in a CRM, so we have to do that, place ads on social media? No, our system has a pretty robust CRM, so that's all sorted for you. It's in there, all that's taken care of, and we got some fancy bells and whistles and the like. But we will teach you to market. And when I say teach you to market, high level, you have to learn how to capture emails. And there's a bunch of different ways that we do that, both digitally and in the physical world. Then you have to learn how to email those emails, and we teach you how to do that, and we give you the templates and what text to use. And then you have to learn how to omni-channel market. And what omni-channel marketing is, how your email messaging dovetails with your social posts to get more reach. And so we teach you how to post on the socials and what's important, which social media sites are important, which ones can you completely ignore. Then we have to teach you how to run a sale. And it turns out there's a lot of mechanics to running a sale. How do you tease a sale? How do you announce a sale? How do you contemplate discounts? How long does the sale run for? What do you do during the sale? What do you do after the sale? How do you extend a sale? All of these things, right? And fundamentally, this business, year after year after year, and again, I've been doing this for a long time now, normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale, typewriter head comes back, and we're right back in it again. Year after year after year. That's just how it goes. And, you know, some artists, some photographers balk at the word sale, to which I respond, the only two brands that I'm aware of that don't run sales are Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's. That's it. And Louis Vuitton is now in the process of buying Tiffany's, so there's only going to be one brand. And number two, you know, the people that balk at sales, again, I've been doing this for a long time. I've gotten involved in some high-level gallery sales. Let me just tell you the amount of discounting and sales that go on with the high net worth individuals. Do you think that they come in and they pay $80,000 retail? They do not. They do not. Those people did not build their wealth by paying retail for anything. So it doesn't matter if you're at the high end of the scale or if you're just getting started. The sale process, running a sale, having a discount and scarcity, i.e. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50% off, i.e. the scarcity, sale ends tomorrow, sale ends Friday, is fundamental to how art and photography is sold. And, you know, there's a lot of baggage and there's a lot of stigma in that. I get that, but you have to get over that if you want to be building a business year in, year out. Only Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's. Only two companies I'm aware of that don't discount. If anyone else has another one. Someone told me Hermes once. I couldn't afford Hermes, and thank God my wife doesn't like it. Please don't anyone get her to like it. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it, but someone said they don't have sales either. Yeah, they're very, very important. So that's what I would say. I can't tell, Chris. Did you have a question? Sometimes I can't see. But yeah, what else, guys? What else? You know, the most important thing that I can say to you guys, and again, I don't want you to take it cynically, because really it honestly does not matter to me if you sign up with us or not, okay? But just understand, we are approaching the biggest art selling time of the year, Q4. It starts at the end of October, and then it starts ramping up Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And back in the day, Black Friday was literally the day after Thanksgiving, and Cyber Monday was literally Cyber Monday, and it is still Cyber Monday, still Cyber Monday. But now people are just moving these sales up weeks and weeks and weeks in advance to try and suck all those dollars out of the economy and hit all the people that do early shopping on their Christmas presents. And if there was just one time a year, okay, where you could be working on your marketing and having a sale, Q4 is the time. It's the time. And we have like 21 days until it starts. So there is still time to get your stuff up on a website, run your first live art show, get going on your marketing, and be ready for the buying holiday of all buying holidays. And let me just tell you, if this Delta variant kicks up and we are all forced back into our homes and people are not going back to work, like there is a reason that all home decor exploded over the course of COVID, okay? There is a reason that e-commerce transactions as a percentage of total transactions registered 10 years of growth in approximately 7 weeks. And a lot of these things are just not going back. So it's the future. Chris, I got you. Go ahead. Oh, you'll have to unmute, Chris. I'll let you know when you get it.
How
Yep.
about now?
Yep, gotcha.
How are you?
Good.
I'm enjoying the initial intro into the Art Storefront platform.
Awesome.
Really like it. I'm a painter and photographer. To build my website, obviously, you probably can put both of those together, integrate them into the website.
100%.
Just a little bit about how I go about doing that. I mean, you already have platforms set up for that. I mean,
Yeah, you're all set up.
templates.
Combining your art and your photography in one website is 0.0 problems at all. Great way to go.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thanks for answering the question.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, people always freak out about that. Like, I need to have my niche. Like, I need to know what my niche is. And, you know, I have various different, like, styles that I like to do and things that I like to do. Like, you are a part of the brand. You know, Chris Romero. What makes Chris tick? The fact he likes to ride his bike. I had to stop your camera, Chris, because your bandwidth was low. So that was me that did that, by the way. you're a part of the brain as much as the work is, right? And you'll never know which one's going to sell better, the paintings or the photography, until you start working on marketing and getting it in front of people, right? So that's a huge, huge part of it. So Maureen's asking, well, Gregory's asking, how is a pyramid business exactly? Yeah, so it's not a pyramid business in the slightest, Gregory. The pyramid is just a way to explain, the business model and how you need to approach running this business. I think pyramid business, like, instantaneously makes me think of like pyramid scheme / Bernie Madoff / that stuff. Like, no, it's not any of that. I'm not asking you, hey, do you want to buy my art? If so, you're gonna have to sign up 10 of your friends. No, not that. It's just a way of thinking about the business in the early part of the presentation. All right, so Maureen is asking, are we assigned one person to work with on our site and marketing and various folks like us? No, not necessarily one. I mean, we have great support, and you might interact with various different agents, but we have, and this is why we do the demo process, so you can see all of this stuff. We have a calendar that shows you what to do 365 days a year, and when to run a sale, when to do what kind of marketing, when to do this, when to do that. Then if we're asking you to do something on the calendar, hey, it's time to run a sale, then we have what are called playbooks, and playbooks can just be thought of as like DIY, do-it-yourself education, learning at your own pace and all of that. Those aren't enough either, by the way. So then what we have is no different than this Zoom call that you're in now. We run 2 of these a week, every single solitary week, and they're on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can come or you can watch the replay, and we will teach various different things that we're asking you to do. And you can ask questions, same as you're asking right now, like, hey, I'm stuck on this or I'm stuck on that. And then our support is next level. And what do I mean by that? If you were to go to our Facebook page and read through the reviews, you'll notice that like 80% of the reviews are about how good our support is, because everyone is used to all the other website companies out there in which, you get a third world person that's really, really bad at English in a chat, or they send you to some sort of, forum to search for your answers or whatever else. Our people are mega proactive on helping you. And then, oh, by the way, not only do we support our application, if you're having a problem with like Facebook or Instagram or MailChimp, which is an email service provider we recommend, you can get help on that. They'll help you with that and get you unstuck. But yeah, that's what I would say. You're unmuted, Maureen, so if you want to ask a follow-up, you can.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. The other question is, after reviewing several of the websites and determining, say I have a piece, some of the artists have their photography or their artwork with other products, not just framed or canvas. Some of them are, you can make a tote bag with it and those kind of things. So how do you get coaching on that type of, adding that onto the website, or is that?
Oh, we're doing that all the time. We're doing that all the time. Yeah. Okay. And then also too, we have print on demand, and we have a merch integration, so you can start selling all that stuff day one if you're so inclined.
Okay. And it's probably on some of the other further deeper into this, but is it drop shipped from where, or how does that?
So we integrate with a company called Guten, which is one of the biggest merch companies in the world, and myriad of different products that you can sell, and order comes in, you get paid. Guten gets paid. Guten boxes and ships. You don't touch anything at all. It's just boom. No minimums, no nothing. All of it's just, pretty much instantaneous, which is rad. Which is really, really cool.
One each isn't a problem. Okay.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, and I love that you're saying that too, because it's it's nice to have some additional items to be able to sell in your store right away, right? Like at the end of the day, it's still a store. It's still a store. It needs to have items in it. And the more the merrier. But we can get into that. Yeah, Maureen, if you haven't, you should see a demo and see what you think, and then you can make your decision. But yeah, the merch is really interesting. We keep adding more and more and more of it. We're trying to sort really, really high-end photo books. We've already got the calendars. We've already got puzzles. We already got tote bags. We already got pillows. We already got coffee mugs, iPhone cases. A whole myriad of stuff already. I can see if I can show any of it quickly. I don't know if I have this guy's website set up.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which one it was, but there was, there's a couple paintings I have that people have asked for those kind of things, and
Yeah, and it's sort of interesting too, right? Because merch is one of those ones that terrifies some people, right? It's like, oh my gosh, that stuff is low rent, low class, like crappy stuff. Like I would never do that. It cheapens my work. And then I instantaneously say, go ahead and let me know which museum that you've been into that didn't have a gift shop.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me which one. I would like to go see which museum you've been in that doesn't have a gift shop, right? Like, that's all it is, right? Like, it's a gift shop, and it's a great way to further monetize your creative talent. And you know, also, very few people ever talk about this. This is why we're a postgraduate university for art and business skills in marketing skills. Is the easiest customer you will ever get is the customer that you already have. Okay, that's number one. Say it again. The easiest customer to get is the one that you already have, i.e., repeat business. Number two, everyone's followers, okay, yours, Maureen's, mine, Kay's here, fall into the socioeconomic bell curve. This is just the way the world works. And on one side of it, you have the people that are broke, okay? They're going to like, they're going to comment, they're going to share, they're going to tell you their work's awesome, but they can't afford anything that right now. That's okay. Then you have lower middle class, upper middle class, high net worth individuals, right? Okay. You heard me talk about perspective and how the fact that you have decades and decades and decades to be doing this. Let's give this example some teeth. I follow you now. I'm on the low end of the socioeconomic scale. I can't afford a $250 print. I can't afford one of your $5,000 originals, but you know what I can afford? I can afford a tote bag, right? I can afford a tote bag for $45, and I follow you, and I like what you do, and I want to own a piece of your work, but that's what I can afford right now. And so you know what I do? I'd buy it. And you know what that tote bag does? I use it as a wall decoration, right? In my entryway, and I put things in it, and there it does. And it sits there for 10 years. And that means for 10 years, every time I walk into my house, who's top of mind? You are. And guess what happens after those 10 years? I got a promotion. And then my wife got a promotion. And the next thing you know, we're moving to the suburbs, and we have this great big house, and we need wall on the art, or art on the wall. Who am I going to call? Who am I going to call? The one that's top of mind that I've been seeing for the last 10 years. You lost that sale if you didn't have something, if you didn't have a price point at the lower end of the scale for me. You lost it, right? So got to have the perspective. You have to understand that you're going to be doing this for the rest of your lives. And like, every sale is important. And, you know, no different than when you walk into a shop. Like, how many people just start with originals that are like 2,500 or 5,000 or 1,000? Like, how many stores do you walk into where the prices start at $1,000? How many people do you see in those stores, right? Like, you can do it that way. Don't get me wrong. There's some people that do it that way, but it makes sense to have all these other various different items. How many retail stores? I constantly go back to the retail. How many retail stores do you walk into where you're waiting to check out and they have all the tchotchke lined up in the little aisles? iPhone charging cords, right? And hot sauce and like snacks and ice cream for the kids, right? All that's attempting to do is have some lower end price points and increase AOV. So, you know, you have to play the same games as everyone else does if you want to make it in this business. You got me ranting there, Maureen. Got me ranting.
That was good. That was good. Now, what about capturing all of those addresses when it's driven through Instagram or
All day long.
so
All
we
day
get
long.
that
Yeah.
captured?
Yep. We've got email capture all over your websites, and then obviously if you have the sale, you have all the information as well. So, yep, none of that's a problem.
All righty. Thank you.
We've thought through it all, Maureen, I tell you, and we keep adding stuff. All right, Aileen's saying, oh, Kaya, you got your hand up. Let me get you next, and then Aileen, I'll come back and get you, and then you too, Gregory. You have to unmute, Kaya. Yep, gotcha.
Okay, I have a question.
Yep.
Can the print-on-demand services handle G-Clays?
Oh, all day. So we integrate with Bay Photo on the West Coast, and then we integrate with this other company called Graphic Dimension on the East Coast. These businesses do like $30 million a year in printing. They have every printer, every machine, every substrate, every size. So you're pretty much limitless.
Okay, because my issue was I was looking at, print-on-demand services, and a lot of people were saying, oh, we don't print G-Clays. And I'm like, so what's the point?
No, we do everything. I mean, fine art, paper, metal, wood, acrylic, all of them.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay. All right, so now we get back into the chat. Is this to teach, to support, or marketing for sales? Gregory, I don't totally understand what you're asking, so I'm going to unmute you. Let me find you. Uh-oh, I think Greg's gone. I don't see him in here anymore. All right, Aileen, let me get you. Aileen. All right, Aileen, I'm unmuting you. So you've been receiving emails from multiple people wanting me to get involved on a demo. Yeah, we're relentless with our emails. There's no two ways about that. Even had phone messages. Did you request a demo then, Aileen? We wouldn't have been able to call you unless you requested a demo.
I don't remember if I requested a demo, but I've
Yeah, you probably did, but we're relentless at asking for them, so don't worry about that. And I'll find out. You know who has your record, and we'll have somebody call you if you want. Do you want somebody to call you?
Do I have a particular point of contact then?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the emails come from a bunch of different names because those are the tricks that email marketers use to keep it fresh and not always come from the same person. So no, you definitely have someone that's assigned to you in the system, and you don't have to worry about like, you know, are you being loyal or not to whatever name came through. None of that matters.
Okay. And how can you let me know what that person is?
Yeah, we'll let you know. Juan, will you search Aileen and see if she's in the system, and then see who's assigned to her, and we can
Okay.
see from there. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Aileen. Cool. Steven says he's got a demo set up for Monday. Yeah, I'm not kidding you guys. Q4 is no joke. If you go back and like if you look at the Facebook page, our Facebook page, you can go back 5 years. Every single solitary year at this time of the year, we just bang the drum. Like we start literally, when do we start? July 31st, maybe? Because it is just tremendous how much art and photography gets sold in the last quarter of the year. It's just a big deal. Big deal. So yeah, that's what I would say. Gregory's gone. What about that? What about anyone else? Any other questions about this, that, or the other thing? Happy to answer them. On a Friday? No? Quiet? Okay. Well, I think we can leave it there. You know, one of the other things that I would say, too, that I forgot to mention is, and yes, Ann just asked if we help with pricing. Yeah, we help with pricing. We have a ton of guidance. You're free to set it any which way you want, but yeah, we give a ton of guidance on that. You know, one of the other things that we're doing now is, you know, what I said earlier about like the socioeconomic bell curve, utterly, totally, and completely truth, right? And you know, one of the things that I often say is to our customers, like, I want you to have a $10,000 piece in the store, even if you're not anywhere near there yet. And the reason is that 10,000 point price point to somebody that is a high net worth individual is like $100 price point to everyone else, right? And so just by having it in the store, you are catering to their particular needs. Okay, well, what does that look like for art storefronts? We are now moving into services where we actually do the marketing for the artist for like the first couple of years. It's like the Kickstart package, right? So, you know, if you're someone that's on this call and you're like, this sounds daunting, you know, I have a great job and I just don't want to do the 0 to 1 problem. I want to pay somebody to do it for me. You can call and ask about that. That's a service that we're playing around with right now. Because the 0 to 1 is the hardest. It's the hardest of the whole thing to do and get done. So yep, you can ask about that. And then I think we also have a special on our site setups. So, you know, if you want to figure all that out, if you're intrigued, like if this is your first time and you know you just showed up and you're like, okay, what do these guys do? Do they know what they're talking about? Don't worry about it. But you need to do something for Q4. But if you're like, okay, this sounds interesting, just request the demo, go through the test drive, and then you have all the info you need to make your call. And our people are not pushy, and they will never call you again if you're like, yeah, it's not for me. So that's what we do. Kevin on Facebook is asking, why do people buy art or photography? I'm at the end of the session. That one's too much. The long and the short of it, Kevin, is because they appreciate it. They like it. Although there's a whole bunch of other reasons too. Yeah, thanks, Leslie. You too. Appreciate you guys spending time with me on a Friday. All right. I think we leave it there, guys. Wonderful weekend. Q4 is coming. Okay, Q4 is coming. As a final too, you know, one of the fun things that I do is, you know, I'm live streaming all the time, and like on a regular basis. And one of the sessions that I've been running recently is an AMA, and it's on Facebook and it's on Instagram and it's on YouTube. And if you see me running one of those, you can pop on, you know, ask any question you like. So if you follow us on the socials, which I recommend you do, we put out a ton of awesome content. Pop into a live stream, say hi. On that note, guys, great weekends all.